Hello, my friends. Before you close your eyes tonight, I need to share something that could change your life. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I do want to protect you. And here's the truth. The way you sleep, something as simple as your favorite position in bed, could quietly raise your risk of stroke overnight. You see, most people think strokes only happen because of big things, like high blood pressure, diabetes, or stress. And yes, those matter. But what almost nobody tells you is that your sleeping position is just as important. In fact, a large study from Johns Hopkins found that the way seniors position their head and neck at night can either protect blood flow to the brain, or slowly cut it off. And here's the shocking part. About 9 out of 10 seniors are sleeping in ways that make stroke more likely. But the good news: once you understand the dangerous positions and make a few simple changes, you can protect your brain every single night. So let's begin with the very first, and one of the most common mistakes. Now, I want you to imagine this. You lie down in bed. No pillow. Your head is flat on the mattress. It feels simple, maybe even comfortable, especially if you've slept this way for years. But here's what's happening inside your body. When you sleep completely flat, your head is at the same level as your heart. For young people, the blood vessels are strong and flexible, so the body can handle it. But after age 60, our veins and arteries are not as strong as they once were. They stiffen. They narrow. And when your head is flat, your brain has to fight against gravity to drain blood properly. What does this mean? It means blood begins to pool in certain areas of the brain. Think of it like a sink that doesn't drain fully. That leftover water gets stagnant. The same happens in your blood vessels. It thickens, it clots. And here's the scary part. Those clots can break free during the early morning hours, usually between 4 and 6 a.m., when blood pressure naturally rises. That's why so many strokes happen right before sunrise. Let me share a story. Leonard, a 77-year-old Navy veteran, was strong and independent. He had one habit from his service days: sleeping flat on his back, hands neatly folded over his chest, no pillow. One morning, his wife Mary found him awake, but something was wrong. He couldn't speak. One side of his face had drooped. His right arm would not move. Leonard was trapped in his body, fully aware but unable to communicate. Doctors discovered a blood clot in his brain. The cause: years of sleeping completely flat, which had caused what they now call positional stenosis, a narrowing of the brain's blood pathways caused purely by sleeping position. Now, here's the hopeful part. The doctor told Leonard's wife that if he had used a simple wedge pillow to raise his head about 30 degrees, this stroke could likely have been prevented. Just a slight lift of the head makes gravity your friend again. It helps your brain drain blood properly, reduces clot formation, and lowers your risk of stroke by as much as 73%, according to recent studies. So the takeaway for you is this: never sleep fully flat after age 60. Always give your head some gentle elevation. A wedge pillow works best, but even 2 stacked pillows are better than none. Tonight, when you go to bed, check your position, because that one small change could be the reason you wake up tomorrow with your speech, memory, and independence fully intact. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to try this with me right now. Turn your head sharply to the right and hold it there. Do you feel that pressure in your neck? Maybe a little tension behind your ear? Now imagine holding your neck like that for 8 straight hours while you sleep. That's exactly what happens when you sleep face down or prone, with your head turned to one side. At first, it may feel cozy, like you're sinking into the mattress. But here's the hidden danger. When your head twists sharply in one direction all night, you're not just bending muscles. You're squeezing the very arteries that carry blood to your brain. You see, 2 important blood vessels run through the back of your neck. They're called the vertebral arteries. These vessels are like little highways delivering oxygen-rich blood to the brain's balance center and back regions. When your head is forced sideways on the pillow, those arteries get pinched, sometimes by 70 to 90%. That's like folding a garden hose. The flow slows, pressure builds, and your brain is left begging for oxygen. Let me tell you about Ethel, an 82-year-old retired school teacher. Ethel was sharp as a tack, still tutoring neighborhood kids in math. But she had one long-time habit. Every night she'd sleep on her stomach, face turned sharply to the left. For years it seemed harmless. But then one morning, her daughter found her awake yet strangely confused. Ethel kept asking the same question over and over. "What day is it? What day is it?" At the hospital, the doctors discovered she had suffered a cerebellar stroke, a stroke in the part of the brain that controls balance and coordination. The clot had formed in one of the arteries at the back of her brain, likely because her neck had been compressed all night. And here's the part that even shocked her doctors. Ethel's sleep study revealed something called vertebral steal syndrome. Don't worry about the big word. Here's what it means, simply. Because her neck was twisted so long each night, her brain had been stealing blood from one area to feed another. Over time, this starved vital parts of her brain. Only a tiny number of doctors even know about this. It's not in most medical textbooks. But it's very real, and it may be happening silently to millions of seniors right now. Ethel survived, but her life changed forever. She now walks with a cane. She can't drive. And she once told her doctor with tears in her eyes, "If someone had just told me that the way I slept could steal my independence, I would have changed years ago." So here's the takeaway for you, my friend. Never sleep face down. It may feel secure, but it's one of the most dangerous positions for your brain. Instead, choose your side or sleep slightly elevated on your back, with your head supported, not twisted. Remember this. The way you place your head at night is just as important as the food you eat or the medicines you take. Protect your neck, protect your blood flow, and you protect your brain. Now, this next one might surprise you, because it seems so harmless, even comforting. Some of you may even do it tonight without thinking. I'm talking about pulling the blanket over your head while you sleep. It feels cozy, doesn't it? Safe. Warm. Almost like being wrapped in a cocoon. Many people have done this since childhood. Maybe you still do it when the room feels drafty or when you want that extra sense of security. But here's the truth. This simple habit could be starving your brain of oxygen all night long. Imagine this. You're in a small room with no windows, and you close the door. After a while, the air feels stuffy. Breathing gets harder. That's what happens under the blanket. When you cover your head, you breathe in the same air over and over. Oxygen levels go down while carbon dioxide, the waste gas your body tries to get rid of, builds up. A major sleep study found that seniors who slept with their head under the covers had oxygen levels drop by an average of 12% during the night. That may not sound like much, but to an aging brain, it's dangerous. Your brain cells need steady oxygen, like a candle needs steady air. When oxygen drops, your blood pressure surges, your heart strains, and your fragile blood vessels can tighten or even burst. Let me tell you a real story. Richard, an 81-year-old grandfather, had a sweet nightly ritual. He'd pull the blanket over his head, and his wife would smile and call him her little caterpillar. It was something he'd done since he was a boy. But one morning, Richard didn't wake up fully. He was barely responsive, his skin a little blue, his oxygen dangerously low, 78%, almost like someone who had been drowning. His brain had gone into what doctors called a protective shutdown, a kind of coma to prevent more damage. The saddest part? No one had ever told Richard that this innocent childhood habit could be risky at his age. Once he switched to using a light sleep mask instead of covering his head, his oxygen levels returned to normal, his blood pressure stabilized, and he felt more energetic in the mornings. Here's the important takeaway. Never cover your head while you sleep. Not with a blanket, not with a quilt, not even with heavy bedding. If you want darkness, use a sleep mask. If you want warmth, use a thicker blanket over your body, not over your face. Your brain needs fresh air. Your heart needs steady oxygen. So tonight, when you tuck yourself in, make a promise to keep your head free and clear. That one choice could mean waking up sharp, alert, and full of life tomorrow morning. Now, this next mistake is one that many seniors fall into without even realizing it. And it comes from a very good place. You just want to be comfortable. Maybe you've had hip surgery, back pain, or arthritis. Lying flat in bed feels difficult, so you move to the recliner. You tell yourself, just for a little while, until I feel better. But then weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. Before you know it, your recliner has quietly become your permanent bed. It feels supportive. It feels easy. But here's the problem. Sleeping upright in a chair changes the way blood flows through your body. Gravity, which normally helps drain blood from the brain when you're lying down properly, now becomes your enemy. Blood starts pooling in your legs. Your heart has to work harder, pumping against gravity all night long just to get blood up to your brain. And when blood pools in the legs, clots can form. Those clots don't just stay put. They can travel. And if one reaches your brain, it can trigger a stroke. Let me share Barbara's story. Barbara, age 79, was recovering from hip surgery. She decided to sleep in her recliner, just until she healed. But healing took longer than she thought, and soon the recliner felt like the only place she could rest. 5 years later, she was still there every night. One morning, Barbara woke up in her chair feeling a little off. Her left hand was numb. Her words were slightly slurred. She almost didn't say anything. She thought maybe she had just slept funny. But at the hospital, scans showed she had suffered what's called a lacuna stroke, a small, deep stroke that can go unnoticed but causes lasting damage over time. The doctors also found her circulation had been struggling for years. Her legs were swollen most mornings. She often felt dizzy when standing up. Nobody had connected those symptoms to her sleeping position in the recliner. But when she finally returned to a proper bed with her head gently elevated at about 30 degrees, something incredible happened. Within 30 days, the swelling in her legs disappeared, her morning dizziness was gone, and her memory and focus improved. So here's the takeaway, my friend. Your recliner is not a bed. It may be perfect for an afternoon nap, or for watching TV, but it is not safe for sleeping through the night. If you need elevation, use a wedge pillow or adjustable bed. That way, you get the comfort of support without the dangers of poor circulation. Remember, comfort should never come at the cost of safety. Protect your sleep, and you protect your brain. This one might surprise you, because many people naturally roll onto their side at night. In fact, sleeping on your side can be healthy in some cases. It helps digestion, eases snoring, and can even support your spine. But there's a hidden danger when you sleep on your right side with your arm pinned underneath your head or body. Here's why it matters. When you lie on your right side and press your arm under your body, you're not just squishing muscle, you're squeezing blood vessels and nerves. That arm falls asleep, yes, but something much more serious is happening. Blood flow is restricted. When circulation slows down, your blood pressure can rise unevenly, and your heart works overtime to keep things moving. Now, if you're under 40, your body can usually recover quickly from that kind of pressure. But after 60, the blood vessels aren't as elastic. Arteries may already be narrowed from age, cholesterol, or past habits. Compressing them all night long can trigger a dangerous chain reaction. Studies have found that right-side sleeping with arm compression increases the risk of silent ischemia, tiny, unnoticed interruptions in blood flow to the brain. Over time, these little interruptions add up and raise your risk of both stroke and memory loss. Let me share Carlos's story. Carlos, a retired teacher at 74, always loved curling up on his right side with his hand under his cheek. He thought it felt comforting, almost like being rocked to sleep. But over time, his wife noticed that his right hand often looked pale in the mornings, and sometimes he had trouble gripping his coffee cup. He brushed it off, thinking it was just old age. One night, Carlos woke with a crushing headache and numbness in his right arm. At the hospital, scans revealed that he had suffered a transient ischemic attack, TIA, often called a mini-stroke. The doctors explained that years of compressing his arm had worsened circulation to his brain and triggered unstable blood pressure spikes at night. The solution wasn't complicated, but it was life-saving. Carlos switched to sleeping mostly on his left side or on his back, with a small pillow supporting his arm so it stayed free and open. Within weeks, his morning headaches stopped, and his grip strength improved. So here's the key lesson for you. If you sleep on your side, choose your left side, and never trap your arm under your head or chest. Place a small pillow between your arms or hug a cushion. This keeps circulation flowing and your heart relaxed. Your sleeping position is like your silent partner through the night. Choose wisely, and it will protect your heart, your brain, and your independence for years to come. Almost every senior I've spoken with shares the same challenge, waking up at night to use the bathroom. It's common. As we age, our bladder muscles weaken, medications can increase urine production, and hormonal changes reduce the bladder's ability to hold fluid for long stretches. Now, waking up to go is not the problem. The real danger comes from what happens when you rush. Picture this. You're fast asleep, your blood pressure is low, your circulation has slowed. Suddenly, your bladder screams for attention. You wake up disoriented, still half in a dream, and you jump out of bed quickly. The moment you stand, your blood pressure can drop even lower, a condition called nocturnal hypotension. For someone over 60, this sudden drop can cause dizziness, imbalance, or even complete blackout. That's why so many falls happen at night. In fact, research shows that 1 in 3 seniors who rush to the bathroom at night suffer a fall within a year. And these aren't just minor stumbles. Falls at night often lead to broken hips, head injuries, or even strokes triggered by the sudden stress on the cardiovascular system. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret was 82, sharp, independent, and living alone. She prided herself on managing her own house. But one winter night, she woke up urgently needing the bathroom. She got up too fast, her head spun, and she collapsed before she even reached the light switch. When her daughter found her the next morning, she had fractured her hip. Surgery and rehab followed, and sadly, she never regained full independence after that one fall. Here's what could have saved her, and what can protect you: slow transitions. When you wake up, don't spring out of bed. Instead, follow the 30-60-90 rule. Sit up slowly and stay seated for 30 seconds. Dangle your legs off the side of the bed for another 60 seconds. Stand up gently, holding onto something stable, and wait 90 seconds before walking. This gives your blood pressure time to adjust and your balance time to steady. Other small changes can make a huge difference too. Night lights along your path to the bathroom prevent disorientation. Non-slip socks or slippers keep your footing secure. Reducing evening fluids, without cutting hydration during the day, minimizes bathroom trips. And if you take diuretics, ask your doctor about adjusting the timing so they don't disrupt your sleep at night. The truth is, your bathroom trips don't have to be dangerous. By slowing down and preparing your environment, you protect your brain, your bones, and your independence. So tonight, if you wake up and feel that urge, remember, take it slow. Your safety matters more than a few extra seconds. At first glance, lying flat on your back might seem harmless, even comfortable. Many doctors recommend back sleeping for spine alignment, and it does reduce pressure on hips and shoulders. But here's the hidden truth. Sleeping completely flat without any head elevation can quietly put seniors at higher risk for stroke, breathing trouble, and nighttime heart strain. Why? Let's break it down simply. When you lie flat, gravity has no effect on draining fluids from your brain and sinuses. In younger bodies, this usually isn't a problem. But after 60, blood vessels become stiffer, the heart has to push harder, and circulation slows down. Lying flat can cause blood pooling in the head, swelling in the neck veins, and increased intracranial pressure. Over time, this raises the risk of tiny blood clots forming, or worse, a major stroke during sleep. It also affects breathing. A flat position allows the tongue and soft tissues of the throat to fall backward, partly blocking the airway. That's why people snore more loudly when lying on their backs. For seniors, this isn't just noisy. It can mean sleep apnea, oxygen dips, and heart rhythm disturbances. In fact, studies show that seniors who sleep flat on their backs have a much higher chance of nighttime oxygen drops, which directly increase stroke risk. Now let me share James's story. James, 76, was a retired postal worker. He always slept flat on his back, hands folded neatly on his stomach, because he thought it was proper posture. But his wife noticed he often gasped in his sleep and woke up with pounding headaches. One night, he didn't wake up refreshed at all. He woke up in the hospital. He had suffered a mild stroke in the early morning hours. Doctors told him that his flat-back sleeping position, combined with untreated sleep apnea, had starved his brain of oxygen repeatedly, slowly wearing down his blood vessels until one finally gave way. The good news? James didn't need fancy machines or drastic changes. He started sleeping with his head and upper chest slightly elevated, about 20 to 30 degrees, using either a wedge pillow or two firm pillows stacked comfortably. The difference was remarkable. His snoring quieted, his morning headaches vanished, and follow-up scans showed improved oxygen flow during sleep. So here's the takeaway for you. Never sleep completely flat after 60. A little elevation goes a long way. Try these tips. Use a wedge pillow or an adjustable bed if you have one. If not, two firm pillows under your upper back and head work fine. Just avoid bending your neck sharply. An elevation of 20 to 30 degrees is enough to protect your airway and circulation. If you have reflux, this position also reduces nighttime acid flow, protecting both your throat and heart. Sleeping should restore your body, not endanger it. By raising your head slightly, you help your brain, heart, and lungs work peacefully through the night, and greatly reduce your chances of a stroke while you sleep. There's nothing cozier than tucking yourself under a pile of blankets on a cool night. It feels safe, snug, and comforting, like being wrapped in a warm hug. But here's the part many seniors don't realize. Sleeping too warm at night is not just uncomfortable. It can actually increase your risk of stroke, heart strain, and nighttime dehydration. You see, our bodies naturally cool down when we sleep. This cooling is part of the circadian rhythm, the body's 24-hour clock that signals it's time to rest and repair. But when you pile on heavy blankets or crank up the heater, your body struggles to lower its temperature. This puts stress on your heart and blood vessels, which are already working harder as we age. Here's why it matters. Overheating causes blood vessels to widen too much, called vasodilation. In younger adults, the body usually adjusts easily. But after 60, the heart often can't pump fast enough to maintain stable blood pressure during this process. The result? night sweats, rapid heartbeat, and in some cases, dangerous blood pressure swings that can trigger a stroke. There's also the issue of fluid loss. Sweating all night, even if you don't feel drenched, causes your body to lose water and essential minerals like sodium and potassium. This mild dehydration thickens the blood, making it more likely to form clots, the very clots that can block blood flow to the brain and cause a stroke in the early morning hours. Let me tell you about Harold. Harold, 81, loved warmth. His children often joked that he kept his bedroom like a sauna. He slept under 2 quilts and a wool blanket, even in spring. But Harold frequently woke up with a pounding heart and soaked pajamas. One night, he fainted while trying to get up for water. Doctors explained that the combination of overheating, dehydration, and nighttime blood pressure drops nearly caused a stroke. After that scare, Harold made small changes. He switched to a light cotton blanket, kept a glass of water by his bedside, and set his thermostat to a cooler temperature. Within weeks, his night sweats disappeared, his heart felt calmer, and he finally woke up feeling rested instead of drained. Here are a few simple tips to keep your nights safe and cool. Layer lightly. Use breathable materials like cotton instead of wool or polyester. To keep the bedroom between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius, the ideal range for seniors. Avoid heavy pajamas. Go for light, loose-fitting sleepwear. Stay hydrated. Drink enough water during the day and keep a small glass near your bed. If you live in a hot climate, consider a fan or cooling pillow to help regulate temperature. Remember, your body works hard at night to repair and restore itself. Overheating forces your heart and brain to work overtime when they should be resting. Staying cool isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting your most vital organs from unnecessary strain. My dear friends, sleep is supposed to be a time of healing, a time when your brain, your heart, and your body recharge for the new day. But as we've seen, small mistakes in how we sleep can silently raise our risk of serious health problems like stroke, heart strain, and poor circulation. The good news is, you don't need expensive machines or complicated routines to protect yourself. Just small, thoughtful changes, like adjusting your sleep position, keeping your room cool, and paying attention to your body's signals, can make a world of difference. Think of sleep as an investment in your tomorrow. When you treat your body with care at night, you give yourself more energy, more clarity, and more strength to enjoy the moments that truly matter during the day. So tonight, as you prepare for bed, remember these lessons. Make your bedroom a safe, peaceful place for healing rest. Protect your brain, protect your heart, and give yourself the gift of healthier sleep. And one last thing, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with a loved one who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe for more simple, caring health advice made especially for seniors. Wishing you calm nights, healthy mornings, and many more years of strength and joy. Good night, and take care of yourself.